Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast, where grit meets growth. With your host, Nic Espanet, bringing you stories of resilience, reinvention, and the real climb to success.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. Today, we are joined by Gabe Arrington. Gabe is the co-founder and CEO of Piranha. Gabe, welcome to the Flex Forward podcast. Can you let our listeners know a little more about you and a little more about Piranha? But first of all, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks for having me as well, and checking out your podcast. And I'm a big fan. So thanks for doing this for me, other people, your audience, and Texas in general. But yeah, my name's Gabe Arrington. I'm an active duty Air Force senior officer, getting ready to retire here in the near future. But yeah, co-founder of a company called Piranha. Founded that with Akash. And met Akash in Austin, Texas, at the Capital Factory. It's a tech accelerator in downtown Austin. Big fan. I've worked with the Capital Factory for probably 8 years now, in both military and civilian roles. Do a lot of mentoring there. And was at an event doing some mentoring, and met Akash. He was talking to me about his idea of impacting mental health and mindfulness and wellness through the use of virtual reality. And it just so happens that my background in the military, a friend and I came up with a strategy to train pilots differently and called it Pilot Training Next. And we used VR, AR, AI, big data analytics, human biometrics to attempt to see what the human mind could do. And it was very successful. Pilot training was cut in half from a year to 6 months. Saving the Air Force probably $1.6 billion over the first 5 years. And so I immediately, from the operational side, understood what he was talking about. And so in talking to him about his vision over the next month or so, he asked me to join the team as a co-founder. And we've been off to the races ever since. Had a lot of success. We're still early, but it's fun being an entrepreneur and working with, a diverse team. So.
That's awesome. What a great success story too, that you guys are at the Capital Factory, where there's just probably tons of ideas bouncing around, and then you connect with each other. Just, if you sat next to either, how it's always interests me how partners team up. Like one of my partners I've done multiple deals with now, he and I sat it next to each other at a meetup. Didn't know each other, but then as we got to know you, and we're good friends now too. But it's been almost 10 years, but just the odds that we sit down next to each other at a meetup, a local meetup about real estate, and start chatting about things and see we have interests and that we're trying to pursue the same thing, same end goal. And it's kind of you and your co-founders meeting up and just getting minds together and just then being able to gel together and work well together. That's a great story.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I've learned so much from Tosh. People see us and they're thrown for a loop at first, right? Because I'm a senior military officer. My background is flight operations, space operations, strategy, on a bunch of aircraft. Akash is from India, very much a visionary and an artist, right? And so we come together pretty well and respect each other's talents, and that's the secret sauce. Complimenting each other like that. He does and knows things that I haven't even dreamed of, and vice versa. So,
well, how great is that you guys can kind of shuffle your cards together and you can do so much more. Just if you both are exactly alike, you probably would butt heads and not make near the progress. Or if you're a lot more closer alike, you wouldn't. You're really building each other up. It's a great story.
Absolutely.
So in that startup world, and even some of the AI or the stuff you guys are doing, there's probably a lot of competition out there. What's something that sets you apart from others that are trying to do similar things or get some of the similar goals?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly in this space, and I'm gonna use the word XR versus AR and VR, but in the XR space, it's rapidly expanding. There are some I won't call them competitors, but companies that pursue similar aspects. And what makes us different is we are very much a calming meditation versus taking you on a psychedelic roller coaster ride in a VR environment, right? Our point is to use specified visuals combined with specialized acoustics to target cognitive functioning to get you to that meditative state as quickly as possible. And for me, we were demonstrating at Fed Supernova earlier this year, and I use the device and the capability of it within, instantly, my fingers are kind of tingling, and it makes everything around you just kind of go away. And so that's kind of what sets us apart. We've had some very successful initial pilots. We're in the Kentucky school system. We've have our second pilot executing right now, and great feedback across the educational setting. And so particularly we think, in special education classrooms.
Okay.
And right now, how people learn, how humans learn is across the board. But say you need to just reset. We all need to reset every once in a while. But particularly for a child in an educational setting, needs to reset. Teacher is using this today in Kentucky.
Is it just a headset and like a mask?
Yeah, VR headset, and we've got the headset for the ears as well, and it immediately allows kids to just take like a 2 to 5 minute break, and they come out of that like they've been on the playground running around for an hour, or a fresh nap. It allows really the ability to offer teachers a different way to reach their students. It's amazing. So some success there, and we've got plans for expansion in the future for the next 2 quarters.
Well, that's awesome because it doesn't sound like a very big piece of equipment. It's a helmet basically.
It's you can carry it. I've got one right here. That's the size.
A small little suitcase. Yeah,
small little suitcase. We're expanding into Colorado school systems, and hope to mail that system out next week.
That's awesome. I definitely want to keep track of you guys and see that's exciting stuff. And not only for you guys as entrepreneurs, but I mean, what if you could help a whole generation of kids that are struggling with special needs or just kids that are a little rambunctious to settle down and be able to learn and function better in school. Sounds like such an awesome service for them.
Yeah. Even, I've got 11 and 14-year-old boys, and they take after their parents. They are both type A, competitive. My 14-year-old came home after a final exam in which he thought he didn't do as well as he should have. Didn't even know the grade yet, but came home and put the headset on. He's like, I just need to chill out for a few minutes.
That's awesome.
Really, when we're dealing with children of all ages going through different phases of growth, the ability to take 5 minutes to mentally reset is priceless.
Oh, I something I try to do either with different types of music or just relax or even go sit in my backyard sometimes in the sun and read a history book, just something that's it's probably along the same, not near as technical, but it's just trying to track, or I think times I wake up and your mind's racing at night and you can't sleep. This sounds like something that may just bring you back down. That's when I'll read. I turn the lamp on, try not to wake my wife up, but I don't want to read something technical. I usually keep some type of history or biography, something that some people would call boring, but I enjoy it. But it's a good way to kind of reset my brain. But you guys are doing it on a whole different level.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if someone's listening and it wants to get better at something, either through reading books or training or anything that you've done through your career path, do you have any tips for them?
Yeah, I would say dedicated time. That sounds simple, but we have so many inputs to us from our day. Jobs, meetings, podcasts, kids, sports. I'm taking my kid to soccer after this. So many inputs. So if you really want to get good at something, make it a priority, give it the time it deserves. And that could be 5 minutes or it could be an hour, and then repeat it. But I think the key is, you have to be true to yourself and you have to enjoy it, right? To get really good at something that you don't have a passion for, you're probably never going to get there. And so be true to yourself and your own path and your life journey. I've been fortunate enough to be involved in a lot of exciting things along my path, and higher prana is another one.
That's awesome. And it's focus, just being, you gotta, you hit the nail on the head. I think that if you want to be good at something, you got to be focused and directed at it. And where you may stumble across some success, but I think very 95% of the time, you're not going to get there without focus. Probably 99.9% of the time, you're not going to get there. It's kind of the blind squirrel finding an acorn every once in a while. Um,
Absolutely.
well, what's one of the biggest challenges you've had to work through as you've gone from, you know, the Air Force Academy through different levels, and where your success you're having now?
Yeah, I would say my path has been unique. From the Air Force Academy, I started flying in the military. Had the opportunity to fly 5 different aircraft, um, 272 or three combat missions. Really exciting stuff. But then my career took a turn. I got involved in wargaming. I got involved in developing technology and strategy. And so really that's what my focus has been over the last 12 to 15 years. And really that's where my passion has grown. And so for a lot of organizations, I think this is true whether it's industry or business or military, we develop experts in one field. And I am not that. I'm a I'm a generalist that has passions in multiple areas, but what I'm good at is connecting overlapping ideas, whether they be technologies and strategy, policy, et cetera. And so again, if you find yourself in a situation where uh, things just aren't true to you, follow your heart and be true to yourself. And I've been fortunate enough to have mentors and leaders over the course of my life that have supported that and valued, and that's led to some success, both within the armed forces and outside the armed forces. So
But and that you said something that a lot of our guests touch on is that's having mentors. Finding people that have already walked down the path that you're wanting, what the path that you're wanting to succeed at. If you can either inexpensively get books from the library on them, or buy books, or reach out to that person, or somebody that's doing what you want to do, and see if you can internship with them or mentor, and maybe for a paid service. So there's different levels, but finding somebody that has already walk that path can really help you eliminate um, uh, mistakes you might make, just and reduce your time to get to that end point you're wanting to go to. So
yeah, yeah, mentorship is just critically important, and it doesn't, I usually when I mentor folks that have been mentored, I like to challenge my thinking. I don't want someone that thinks exactly like I do.
mhm.
I know what the Air Force pilot's going to say. So I deliberately seek out people with various backgrounds that will challenge my thinking and contribute to make me a better person in society, a better father and husband. And we at Higher Prana, uh, we're putting our money where our mouth is. We just brought on our first intern on a 6 month basis, and a college student to kind of expose her to business and emerging technology. And then the true value for her is she's exposed to our board of advisors, who are industry leaders, founder of the Apple Vision Pro, doctor in the Kentucky school system, neuroscientist, some of the top people in the industry. And then on the flip side, an industry leader in AWE, Nathan. And so we've got that side as well. So hopefully she takes full advantage of that, because, at the end of the day, you and I are getting more seasoned, Nick,
Yes, it
and
happens.
and the future generations, we're going to be dependent on them. So it's, that's a personal, belief of mine.
Well, hopefully, like you said, she takes advantage. What an opportunity for a young lady that people experts in multiple fields of practice, to get to learn from them from 6 months is just something. If I could teleport myself back to that 18, 20 year old, it's like it should have been setting with people with more wisdom. I didn't have much wisdom at that time. I was more of a knucklehead, but it took me a while to mature. But definitely, young people, younger, or even if you're older, it's never too late, but get with somebody that you can learn from is good stuff. Well, as
Absolutely.
we're wrapping up the interview, do you have any exciting plans or initiatives in the next 6 to 12 months you can share with us?
Yeah. So Higher Piranha, we're expanding into Colorado school system. We are in initial discussions with two universities. I won't name them yet since we don't have a deal signed. But pilots with them. One is based here in the United States. One is international.
Okay.
And then we've been approached by a few technology consulting firms, consortiums that are interested in bringing us into the portfolio. We're in a unique position right now, because we're 6, 8 months in and have so far been bootstrapped, and self-funded, on purpose. And so we want to take deliberate steps in, building out the board and forming the relationships with industry and academia to really bring this capability to humanity in the way it deserves. So exciting things happening for sure.
That does it. And it sounds like you guys are on the edge of a couple of different things: the pilot, flight training, and the stuff with the children, and or just the relaxation. Both of those, I think, have just tremendous opportunity to grow. So I'm excited for you guys. So, Gabe, thank you so much for taking time today to share some of the tips and insights that you've learned in your path from through your career. If people would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Always available on LinkedIn. Personal email is gabearrington03@gmail. I can also be reached at Higher Prana, gabe@higherprana.com. And so please reach out. I look forward to talking, partnering, sharing some lessons, and giving back where I can to fellow entrepreneurs and society.
Great. Thank you so much, Gabe. I've really enjoyed getting to know you a little bit today and learn about what you and your partners are doing. So I wish you all the luck and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Nick. It was a true pleasure.
You bet. And everyone, thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. Be sure to like and share and pass this along to anybody that may benefit from it. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Flex Forward podcast. If you've got grit, growth, and a great story, visit flexforwardpodcast.com/guest to apply and join us on the show.